Hello, Sarah. It's a Thursday. And today I want to talk to you about a food thing because food's been on my mind a lot because I went grocery shopping today and your potato song's been stuck in my head. And I made a lot of food today since I went grocery shopping and I was like prepping stuff for the rest of the week. And I don't know if I've ever talked to you about this, but I don't really watch a lot of food shows with any sort of consistency. Like, I mean, I watch them occasionally maybe, but I don't watch any of them like from start to finish, like through seasons and stuff. But one of the only ones that I really like that I'm like attempting to do that with is a show called Good Eats. And I don't know if you're familiar with Good Eats, but it's a show that's like a lot of science, and he tells like why you do things certain ways and like where foods came from, and it's like super interesting and like funny, and he does like theatery sort of things and they act stuff out, and it's just really great. It's probably one of my favorite like cooking shows ever. It's probably my favorite cooking show ever. And it's not really a cooking show, but he talks about all these different foods and like their components and where they came from, and he gives you lots of like tips and tricks and things like that. I think we might have talked about Good Eats at some point maybe, but I've been watching it with a friend of mine who's never seen it, and she's like learning all these things, and it's really funny. Like yesterday she learned how to tell the difference between a hard-boiled egg and a raw egg, and so it's like you spin it, right, and then when you stop it, if it continues spinning it's raw, and if it doesn't continue spinning it's cooked. And she was like, how does it do that? And I was like, well, in a raw egg the yolk still has momentum after you stop the egg because the yolk is just suspended in the whites. It's not cooked, so it's not solid. So you stop it, and then the yolk still has momentum inside the egg. So you stop the outside of the egg, but then the yolk forces the egg to keep spinning. And she was like, "That's crazy!" And she's like learning all these cool things. And so that's been really fun to kind of like watch her watch the show. And there's lots of episodes I haven't seen, so it's fun to kind of start at the beginning and watch my way through it. So there's been a lot of food stuff lately, and that's been fun. Also, I made this really great thing today, and that's what I'm going to leave you with. This is the recipe for this, and by recipe, I mean it's really not a recipe, it's super easy. But I made apple chips today. So all you do is, I like cut the top and the bottom a little bit out of the apple, because you leave it whole, but I didn't want the stem or the bottom in there, so I just cut those parts out and left the rest of the core. But my roommate has a mandolin, so we were slicing the apple on a mandolin. And so you cut really thin slices of apple. I mean, you could do it with a knife, but it would take a lot longer. And then you just put like cinnamon on them, like just cinnamon, nothing else. You don't have to really coat them, you just kind of toss them in the cinnamon in a bowl, kind of get them a little bit coated. And then you bake them in the oven at like 200, and you're just slowly dehydrating them. And it's like 2 or 3 hours in the oven, and you like flip them halfway through. But they're super good. They're just apple and cinnamon, but they taste like crispy apple pie, and they're delicious, and you should try making them. And keep being authentically awesome.